Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about what might just be the single most critical and honestly the most overlooked skill in all of engineering: communication.
So what do you think is an engineer's most important tool? I'll give you a hint. It's not a fancy calculator or some super powerful CAD software. Nope. It's the ability to communicate a really complex idea precisely, systematically, and in a way that lasts. Because without that, even the best ideas in the world, they're pretty much worthless.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with a big challenge engineers face, then we'll get into the daily diary, the design note. From there, we'll see how that turns into an official record. We'll also tackle how data can tell different stories. And finally, wrap up with presenting your findings. Let's get into it.
So first up, the Engineers Communications Challenge. You know, it's funny, a brilliant engineering concept is actually a really fragile thing. If you don't have a solid system to document it and share it, it can get lost in translation, totally misinterpreted, or even worse, lead to some seriously dangerous and expensive mistakes down the road.
And the goal here is to create a record of the entire development process that is accurate, permanent, and totally defensible. Now, this isn't about bureaucracy or just creating a paper trail for the sake of it. It's about building a rock-solid foundation. Something that lets a team understand the project years from now, protects it legally with patents, and makes sure it gets built safely and correctly.
Okay, let's get into our toolkit. The very first tool, and honestly the bedrock of this whole process, is the design note. The best way to think about this, it's basically the engineer's daily diary. So, what is a design note? It's a chronological daily log of the entire product development process. We're talking from the very first spark of an idea all the way to the final tests. Think of it as a super detailed moment-by-moment journal. Every calculation, every decision, every idea, whether it's good or bad, it gets logged right here as it happens. Okay, but there are some strict rules. All entries have to be in permanent ink. The pages need to be bound and numbered. Every single entry needs a date and a signature. You have to list everyone who worked on a task. And if you make a correction, you have to sign and date that too. I know, you might be looking at this and thinking, wow, that seems incredibly strict for a diary. No pencils, no tearing out pages, but trust me, there's a really good reason for this level of discipline.
And here it is. The design note isn't just for you. It's a legal document that has to be, without a doubt, accurate. That's why all that discipline is so important. In something like a patent dispute or a product liability case, this so-called diary can become the most critical piece of evidence you have. It's the unimpeachable record of exactly what happened and when.
All right, so if the design note is the daily diary, how does all that information become something bigger, something official? Well, that's where the technical report comes in. The technical report is the formal, official document. It takes all that information from the design notes and synthesizes it into one comprehensive record for your colleagues, for legal review, and for the archives. So yeah, if the design note is the raw, daily diary, the technical report is the finished, published book. It's built to be shared, reviewed, and defended. And a good report always follows a really clear, logical structure. You've got your cover page, a quick 1- or 2-page summary or abstract, then the body with all the details, the conclusion with your key findings, and finally, the appendix for all the backup stuff. And this isn't just about looking professional, right? It's about making really complex information easy to digest. It guides the reader from that big picture summary all the way down to the nitty-gritty raw data so anyone can follow your train of thought. And this slide really gets to the heart of a great report. On the left, you've got the do's. Use visuals, graphs, tables. Keep a clear structure. You see the cover page, the appendix, the whole shebang. But on the right, that's the big don't. Don't just write a giant wall of text like it's a novel. The whole point is to be concise, to use a point-by-point style that's built for clarity, not for beautiful prose. But here's the thing. A report is only as good as its data. And how you present that data can totally change the story it tells. This is actually a spot where a lot of people make a critical mistake. So let me ask you this. When you're looking at a bunch of data points, should you just connect the dots, or should you draw a line of best fit? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer depends completely on the kind of data you're working with. And getting this wrong can lead you to some seriously flawed conclusions. And this is a perfect illustration of what I mean. On the left, you've got independent data. Each dot is a different Blu-ray player. They're separate products, right? You wouldn't connect them. Instead, you use a trend line to show a general correlation, like, hey, as weight goes up, the price tends to go up. But now look at the right. This is continuous data. We're stretching one single spring. Each data point is the very next step in one continuous process. In this case, you absolutely connect the dots because you're showing the direct cause and effect relationship between force and length.
So what's a trend line really? It's a calculated line that shows the general direction in a set of independent data points. You use it for prediction and analysis. So just remember this. Connecting the dots shows you the behavior of one thing over time. A trend line helps you predict the behavior of a new thing based on the pattern of many others. It's really the difference between telling a story that happened and forecasting what might happen next.
Okay, so you've done it. You kept a perfect diary, you wrote a brilliant report, but all that amazing work means absolutely nothing if it just sits on a shelf, right? The final, crucial step is sharing those findings with other people.
And this happens in a lot of places. You've got internal team meetings, seminars to share knowledge, academic conferences to present new research, and of course, customer presentations. This is where it all comes together. Whether you're in a team meeting trying to crack a problem, at a conference sharing a breakthrough, or standing in front of a customer trying to make a sale, this is the moment of truth. Being able to stand up and clearly translate all that data, all that documentation into a compelling story for your audience, that's the final and maybe the most vital piece of the whole puzzle.
So, to wrap things up, what other fields depend on these exact same principles? While we've been focused on engineering, this whole framework, meticulous documentation, clear reporting, compelling presentation, it's not unique at all. It is the absolute foundation of progress in science, in medicine, in law, really in any field where complex ideas have to be turned into reality. It truly is the hidden language of innovation.